Okay, we're almost there with Navbars. This is actually going to be quick. We have one thing to talk about, which is positioning our navbars, the placement. So what that means is, do you want your navbar at the top or at the bottom? That's one thing that we could answer. But also, do we want it to stay at the top as you scroll? Do you want it to be sticky, which I'll show you what that looks like. This is really all we're going to talk about in this video. Now this kind of bothers me about the docs that they show you this, and you can't tell a difference at all. I mean, there's nothing for you to tell, really. They add this tiny little white space to indicate, like, look, this one is fixed to the top, this one is at the bottom. But it gives you no indication of what sticky means, for example. So let me show you. I have a new document. It's empty. I'm going to start by just copying over one of our navbars. It doesn't matter which one. Just put them in there, or put it in there, and save. And I'll say that this one is default nav, or let's call it default placement. And now what I'm going to do is add a bunch of space in here, or a bunch of text. So I'm going to do a paragraph with like 1,000 characters of lorem ipsum. And before I do that, I'm going to make a container. And then do that inside of it. Just to give us, you could also give your body a height, but I'm going to do it this way. So lorem 1000 and save. There we go. All right, so this is the default behavior, if I can finish scrolling, the default behavior for a navbar, where it starts at the top and then you scroll past it. It doesn't stay there. Unfortunately, I can't have them all on the document at the same time. So I'm going to copy this and then comment out the first one. So it stays there so you can see default placement. But now I'm going to do fixed top. Fixed top like that. And then all we do is add the class fixed-top. And now as I scroll, you'll see that it remains at the top. Now one problem we have with this fixed navbar is that it does cover our content a bit. So you would want to give your body, well, not the body, you'd want to give the container or your paragraph some margin. You have to account for that space. Okay, so the next one that we'll do, I'll comment this one out. We can do the same thing, but fix it to the bottom, which you can probably figure out what that does already. I'll just change this though, fixed bottom, save, and now it's at the bottom of our page, and it stays there. But now as we toggle, open the drawer, it opens upwards instead of downwards. Okay, so that's fixed bottom. And now we have my favorite one. I don't use this very often, but I just like it, called sticky top. The problem with sticky top, if I just do a new navbar, if I change the brand to be sticky top and I give it the class of sticky-top, you can't really tell that anything is different. It looks like fixed top. But if I put some space above it, let's do a jumbotron fluid dot, I also need jumbotron. And inside of there, let's do an h1 with class equal to display1. Let's do text center maybe. And I'll just say scroll down. Not downs. That was supposed to be a save. Okay, so we have scroll down, jumbotron. Did I spell this wrong? Yes, I did. I want that background. All right, so now we have some content up top, maybe an image or something. And then as we scroll, it sticks to the top. So a lot of people like that effect. And you come back and it releases. So that's really the only difference between sticky and fixed. When you do sticky, you can have space above it, and then it catches on the top, it sticks. So I'll leave that one. The last thing I'll point out is that if you want, you can put your navbar in a container. Now this only works if you're working with the default or fixed top navbar. It's not going to work with the sticky one. It's not going to work with a fixed bottom. But if you put your navbar inside of a container, which actually, to demonstrate this, I'm just going to go back to an earlier, instead of deleting all of this, let's go to this purple navbar. What I can do, where is that? It starts here. I can do a container and then put all of this content inside of it. And now our navbar just goes part of the way across the screen. And some people like this. Sometimes you don't want your nav to go all the way across. It still collapses. It still looks pretty nice. I'm not crazy about it, but that's an option. Now, one other option is to still have your nav go all the way across and put the container on the inside. so that your content inside of the nav doesn't go all the way across, if that makes sense. So that would look like this. So you have the nav going all the way, and then your container preventing the content from spreading out all the way across. We still get the collapse, still looks nice. Totally up to you if you prefer it that way. So I'll leave this one like that. So that's it for navs. I mean, there's a lot. We have an exercise coming up, and like I said, I always reference the docs. There's a lot of syntax, but they're very useful. They look nice. They work well, and we haven't even changed fonts or colors, really. We've been working with just the default styles. All right, moving on to an exercise.